We got a couple ACC teams headed to Omaha. We'll talk about ACC Baseball, who is going to for the big College World Series. Another big recruit transfer, if you will. Kevin Keatts landed Kam Woods. What is Keatts doing right that maybe Hubert Davis is doing wrong?
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper, joined by Kenton Gibbs of Locked On Wolfpack. Each and every day, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you download wherever the audio spaces are. But from a YouTube's perspective, hit that subscribe button so you can never miss an episode. You can catch up and you can get into all of our playlists as we prep for ACC football season. Kenton, how are we feeling? How was your long weekend?
It was all right. It was all right. I didn't really do much, so can't really complain. It was a good weekend. How about yourself?
I heard you were on the grill.
A little bit. It was my first time grilling, and I think it went well. I didn't hear any complaints. So.
And you grilled for the church, I heard.
Listen, I don't know who gave you this information, but I was doing it in service to the Lord. Yeah.
Grilling for the church is a pretty big deal.
I mean, listen, you do what you got to do. You know what I mean? You do what you got to do in service to others. And that was just one of those moments. So, All
right. Well, we like the humble. I think that's what the Lord Good Book says. Now, there are people who are cooking their way to Omaha, ACC Baseball. We've got a couple teams that are going to take their talents for the College World Series out in Nebraska. Virginia Cavaliers, Wake Forest Demon Deacons, who've had some pretty strong seasons, tied for the most out of any big Power 5 conferences, and two teams taking their talents to that next level. It's going to be a good run. I feel good about the Demon Deacons and the Virginia Cavaliers, but man, oh man, we got some really good teams in some other areas around the country that we're going to give them a run for their money.
I mean, here's the first thing, right? It's a lot like the Virginia Duke Super Regional there. There can only be one. When we look at this national championship, there can only be one. Luckily enough, these two teams are in opposite brackets in terms of the where they'll be placed in Omaha. So we could see, it is possible to see an all ACC national championship here. It's possible.
And that would be very fun because it's very rare that two teams in the same conference end up in a national championship setting, but certainly would be one to keep our eye out for. I know you guys talk about it on a lot on Locked On Wolfpack and your respective. So I know Grayson's a really big baseball guy. So if you guys want to check out any of his updates, he keeps you guys abreast to all that's going on there for sure.
And I also want to say this. Wake Forest has been one of the most dominant teams in recent memory, and they have done so in spectacular fashion. I mean, I don't think that they've dropped the series. I could be wrong, but I don't think they've dropped the series all year. And if they have, it's been exactly one or two. Like that is how good they've been all year. And so, they're prohibitive favorites. However, they're playing up against an LSU team that is absolutely stacked with an ACC talent in Tommy Tanks, also known as Tommy White, who transferred from NC State over there after breaking the freshman record for home runs in the NCAA. And so these are some very amazing storylines to see here. It's going to be a great time. And I'll tell you what, Virginia is playing as good of baseball as anybody right now. That group out of Charlottesville, they have seen some ups and downs this season. But I'll tell you what, from hosting their regional up till now, they've done everything that you'd like to see at a high level for the most part. And so it's no surprise to see them slide in here either.
If you had to pick between the two, who do you say goes a little bit further? Maybe wins the whole thing.
Oh, Wake Forest. I think that Wake Forest getting their pitching lab and all that at their facility has worked miracles. I mean, their bullpen is just there. Of course, they have aces. Of course, they have guys that can go out there and give you a quality 5-6 innings. But, man, it's like top to bottom. You're going to struggle to find a weakness in those arms. And I wish I could say that was hyperbole and I'm just talking just to talk. But they have been really tough to beat all year. They played an Alabama team in the Super Regional that everybody said, oh, yeah, this is going to be a team. They could upset them. SEC baseball, and I will say this, although the ACC is tied for most right now, the SEC can untie us if I want to say it is if if Tennessee beats Southern Miss, they can untie it. But Wake Forest all year has been dominant. Their pitching has been phenomenal. They have had timely hitting. Every time they look like they're in the gym, every time you think to yourself, oh, man, this Wake Forest team is cooked, they just find a way. They just find a way time and time again to make a comeback. And that's even if you can find them on a bad day, because for the most part, they've been utterly dominant at times.
Well, it's always nice to have our baseball analyst here, Kenton Gibbs, who clearly is way more abreast to what's going on in the baseball sphere. It's nice, fresh change of pace. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more by visiting FanDuel.com/Locked On today to get started. Got a little list of topics to go over on today's show. As we remind you guys, this is the summer series. What happens in the summertime is we get a little reprieve. We don't have to do a show every single day. We get 3 shows a week. Yeah, just about. We give you about 13 episodes in the month. Do that fun math. And we just make sure that you are all caught up for the start of football season. But a lot of things happen in the basketball world. I don't even want to put this as a hot topic. I think I'll save that for Hot Topic Tuesday. I want to remind you also, Hot Topic Tuesday, every single Tuesday, we talk about whatever you want during the summertime. You throw things out there. We talked about realignment. We've talked about Louisville and what they're going to do with Coach, what's my guy's name? Kenny Payne. Kenny Payne. A lot of K's in my life. We talked, a little bit anything and everything. I think for Hot Topic Tuesday, one that's going to have to be on the list for Tuesday, we got to talk about Zion. We have to. Former Duke standout. We have to. We have to.
Here's, and I don't want to spoil whatever conversation we're going to have in the future, but it's his personal life,
I get you, but I see that's why we have to have a conversation. We can agree to disagree, and that's why we're gonna save it for Tuesday. We're already giving people a teaser, and we're just 7 minutes in. So I think it's gonna be a great one. I think it's gonna be a good one.
All right, well,
I think it's gonna be good.
Sure, let's get into it. Sure.
More than that, though, the portal party is popping for teams around the triangle. NC State is doing the damn thing. Former NCAA star Kam Woods has decided to take his talents to the NC State Wolfpack. Coach Keatts has certainly been someone who has, definitely used the transfer portal to his advantage. But if we can get right into, what Kam Woods is and brings to the table for the Wolfpack, I would love to do it.
Yeah, Kam Woods is a dynamic scorer. I mean, he improved drastically from year 1 to year 2 in virtually every way imaginable. He's a guard that has a lot of that. He has the confidence that just won't quit. It doesn't matter what's going on or how many shots he's missed. He's going to have the confidence to keep shooting. But even beyond that, he has the ability to make those shots. He has the ability to hit those shots. And I'll tell you this. This is a young man that last season, as the season went on, he got better and better and better. And so, it's a beautiful thing to see in terms of how this plays out into the Wolfpack and looking like how are they going to replace the young man that they had coming in, Trey Parker, who was then going back to overtime elite. And you're thinking to yourself, well, you're kind of stuck with the scraps of the transfer portals, or the leftovers, and the guys who are on the island, the misfit toys. And I'll tell you what, this is a darn good toy to pull out that pile. No offense to the young man, but Kam Woods is a baller. He's a stud to pull out of that group. So, again, this is a young man that he can shoot you in a game. He can shoot you out of a game, but he's going to keep shooting either way. And he does so at a pretty effective clip as well.
Let's talk about shooting in, shooting out of games and effectiveness and all the things here in just a bit. But right now I want to touch base on FanDuel. Our friends at FanDuel always seem to get us right and together during the season. We know that the NBA playoffs is about to wrap up, a little gentleman's sweep, if you will, for the Denver Nuggets. But you can get a no sweat first bet up to $2,500 if you are a new customer. Bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. That's $2,500 at FanDuel.com/LockedOnCollege. If you go right now, there's no better place to bet on all the action, playoff action, than America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Go to FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Kenton Gibbs here giving us a little taste about what's going down there at NC State. Kam Woods is transferring, and the reclassification. I know you touched on it, but just a bit. But if you can let people know, what was the reasoning behind having to even get Kam in the first place?
Yeah, so Trey Parker was a guard that was supposed to be coming in to NC State, but decided to stick it out another year in the overtime elite league and do his thing there. But he affirmed that he was still committed to the Pack. As a matter of fact, the only tweet that he engaged with on the topic was from the Locked On Wolfpack page and saying that he basically said "I am" when asked the question, or when a fan stated, well, that's the end of that. We won't be seeing him in Raleigh anytime soon. We know he's not coming next year. And his reply was "I am," which is the only tweet that he engaged with on the subject. But that's, it's a situation where he went back to the overtime elite league where they're paying the players and all that good stuff. And it's not all that uncommon. And I understand why Wolfpack fans are concerned, right? When you have a history that includes Jalen LeCue not coming, that includes I believe it was Josh Hall not coming. When you had Isaiah Miranda say Wolfpack Nation or no nation, and then 2 weeks later he's in the transfer portal. I understand. I'm not going to pretend like Wolfpack fans have no reason to feel the way they feel or that they're crazy. Or I'm not going to gaslight you in that way.
Right.
However, this young man, the last word that we have on him is that he's committed, that he's still coming, that he wants to be here and will be, or that he wants to be in Raleigh and will be there in 2024.
Wolfpack Nation is the only nation, and then 2 weeks later in the portal saying, I am going to be playing next year. It's a long season. A lot of NIL money between now and when he has to actually touch down on somebody's campus.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I say of these young men and women the same thing that I say of adults. You know what I mean? Whatever is best for you, so long as it does not hurt or harm others, do it. So long as you're not actively hurting or harming others, please do it. If you feel like what is in your best interest is going to a place with a bigger NIL, they'll go for it. I will say this, and I will warn of this, though. The reality is, for the majority of athletes, the numbers just work out in a way. You will be going pro in something other than sports. Make sure that whatever the NIL you're getting is combined. Yes, that's a factor. Yes, the upfront money is always good. Upfront cash in hand, always good. Make sure you get an education from somewhere that degree means something. That degree holds some weight. That alumni network holds some weight. They see your school name on a resume and say, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, he went to my school. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, he went to this school. I know they do good work over there. I know they put out good, whatever it is that you do. They put out good those at that school. Let's talk to them.
Sure. We can say that rabbit hole for another day. I think NIL is a beast in of itself. But I think that, getting back to what Kam brings in terms of the person that they have before them, I think he's going to be a good addition. To me, it seems like Keatts is going with this whole vibe of guys who may not necessarily have been the most touted, most highly recruited, but they're ready to work. They're ready to play hard. And we look at DJ Burns, right? You look at what he and Quavion Smith did last year and just the type of energy that they bring in terms of you ain't gotta be, you have to come and support us. So you want to come see a show, we got a show for you. And I think Kam is just another great addition of, maybe not a guy who was seen and got the big time offers, but plays that with a little chip on his shoulder. And now he's a part of a huge chip with the NC State guys, just trying to continue to bring success to that program.
Well, I think that in the past you could argue that Coach Keatts wasn't going after the big names, but I don't know. MJ Rice was one of the biggest fish to come out of this year's transfer.
Sure. But I think playing with a chip still, like there are guys who probably have like, I have something to prove type energy.
Oh, absolutely. But I think that that's part of the identity at a school like NC State. That is part of the identity. It's ingrained there, the attitude of, and I'm going to tell you this. I personally am one of those people that don't mind the little brother moniker because I'm the youngest of all my siblings. And yeah, sure. Tell me that I'm not as good. Tell me that I'm inferior. Tell me all the things that we're not, and we're gonna show you we're all that plus some. We're gonna show you, hey, yeah, you can be big brother. You can be more established, bigger fan base, started first, all that good stuff. Good for you. I'm still gonna whoop your tail 9 times out of 10. That is to me the attitude that's being perpetuated here. Coach Keatts has bought into that, and he gets his guys to buy into that, and that's important. Getting your guys to buy into the identity of the team is great, but it's even better when that identity of the team matches the identity of the university to some extent.
I really thought he was just getting guys who enjoyed ice cream, maybe the non-lactose intolerant jokers who, Coach Keatts is famously known for getting ice cream to guys who win on the road.
Well, statistically speaking, the makeup of his team says that a good chunk of them are most likely lactose intolerant.
Probably not at that age yet. That probably hasn't hit them yet.
What? No.
When did you become lactose intolerant? 18?
When I was born.
No.
Yeah, when I was young. When I was young, cow's milk has never done right by me ever. That is not something that had to set into my body to be like, you shouldn't be drinking this anymore. No, it's never been a good time.
So you know how you were an athlete and you could drink chocolate milk post game? You never drank chocolate milk?
Drinking chocolate milk post game is insane. Why are you drinking chocolate milk post game?
Chocolate milk is great for recovery. What are you talking about?
Drink a protein shake or something. Why are you drinking chocolate milk?
Which has chocolate in it. Are you being for real? You never were told by a nutritionist that chocolate milk is a great recovery drink?
I mean, especially by the time I had nutritionists, we were definitely not drinking chocolate milk. Well, I'll say this: chocolate milk was an option. I just didn't drink it because, again, lactose. But it's
cow's milk has always cut up with you.
When I was a kid at all the family events now, and I know for culturally every family don't do this, but at all the events where they had mac and cheese, I was going to eat it. I just knew that there was going to be some pain on the back end.
Every time, when you were younger.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I've always been this way. I don't ever remember not being this way.
That's tough because how some families they do mac and cheese and milk and chicken for they drink milk for dinner.
Oh, why would you drink milk for dinner?
Whole glasses of milk for dinner.
Jim Harbaugh does that, and that's how I knew that man was a psychopath. That's how I knew there was something not exactly clicking.
A lot of people in those families they drink milk.
What
with their dinners? And I'm talking my mom. Not my mom. Some moms make chicken, green beans, rice, and they have a glass of whole milk.
I was about to say, whatever your mother's last name is, please tell it to me because I hope that she wasn't.
Obviously, it's Cooper. And
okay, no. I'm just asking. Listen,
I didn't drink whole milk. That was not my testimony.
I would hope. That is very, very unserious activity. Very unserious.
That's very common. This could be a hot topic Tuesday tomorrow.
No, it's not. That's not. Dude, common.
Honestly, do two.
That's not common.
That is very common in certain families.
That's not common.
It is.
You're not. I'm going to tell you this.
I bet you fans in Pittsburgh, Boston. I bet you AJ Black has milk with his chop suey.
Oh my God, chop suey already looks bad enough. You throw milk in there? That's crazy. That's oh.
If you're a Boston College fan and you eat chop sueys, let us know if you have milk or Sprite.
You're not drinking milk with them chop sueys. Please tell me you're not.
Who knows? Why would you? First of all, why would you eat chop suey anyway? It's disgusting. But
to throw milk in it.
We're so off topic here today, but it's fine. It's Monday. We're getting back on the saddle. Either way it goes. We need to know. We have to know as a unit. Do you have milk with your dinners? I can guarantee you some of the people in our comments it's gonna be
I'm being aggressive right now. I'm being aggressive right now. I'm being very aggressive with this. I would be shocked if 20% of our listeners drank milk with their dinner. I would be shocked. I would anything higher than 20%.
Well, our listeners, probably not. But regular people who listen to common college athletics, I guarantee you it's probably 75 to 80%, maybe 90.
90%.
grew up drinking milk as an option for dinner. Like have you ever babysat?
I know as like kids, because all the like, oh, you want strong bones, drink milk campaign and all that. I get for kids. I'm saying as a fully grown adult, you sat there and said, well, what did you have for dinner tonight by chance? What did you have?
All I said was the kids want to come to NC State because they like ice cream.
And I'm trying to say that culturally or whatever that may mean, your genetic makeup, the closer your ancestors are to the equator, the more likely you are to be lactose intolerant.
Stop. First of all, that's ignorant and unfounded, and you don't know that to be 100%.
Okay.
Please. Before you go out here and give us some CRT action, like just
I'm trying to
just cut it.
Okay.
Just cut it.
Okay.
Just that sounds so terrible. Who told you that? Please, just never again say that again in your life. Never.
Okay, don't worry about it.
Either way it goes.
I'm gonna send you the article.
What's crazy in all of this is Coach Keatts is the one who's providing the ice cream. So, like, I mean, here we go. Maybe you need to talk to Coach in Raleigh there. Say all that to say.
Absolutely. I think he's probably lactose intolerant and just sucking it up because it's like, oh, it's a tradition. Like, that's a thing. That's,
help us, Father, help us, Lord. Well, Kam Woods is going to be a great addition, I think, again to NC State. MJ Rice is going to be sensational coming out of Kansas. DJ Burns, they're going to be. I think NC State is going to be a problem. That leads me to my next and final topic of today. Something Coach Keatts is doing right. Like, while it is a little challenging to get people to actually play there in the jersey, Coach Keatts is doing things a little bit right in terms of just getting some quality players, ones you can, turn your head and be excited about. While, NC State might not necessarily be the case. North Carolina might not necessarily be the case.
I think at the end of the day, all this is boils down to on-court success. Like, that's just the reality. Regardless of how much you cook in the portal, regardless of who values who in the portal, who says who is what in the portal, it all comes down to on-court success. And as much as people are applauding Keatts and lauding how he's cooking in the portal, it does not matter if you cannot cook up in the tournament. It does not matter if you cannot cook up wins.
No, they did get to the tournament, though.
They did, but they had a first-round exit. Say what you want about Hubert.
Yeah,
he made a national championship appearance.
So don't just get that. Yeah, they didn't wet the bed in the national championship. Don't be disrespectful. Brady didn't have enough. Brady needed a little more of his milk. Now, if he had a couple more glasses, he might have had a little more strength. My boy was gassed. He played the starters the whole tournament because he had to, but he was gassed.
There is no way around
Johnson, like if he just kept it down. I'm not doing this.
There is no way around it. There's no way around it. At the end of the day, it is about who has success. That's what this is about. There's, and I'll tell you this. Yes, it is about the Larrys and Joes, and that's what brings you success. So Coach Keatts needs to prove that his Larrys and Joes can have the type of success that we've seen out of Hubert Davis, or Hubert Davis needs to struggle mightily to now have people like, oh man, like, is Coach Keatts the better coach here?
Yeah. And I was thinking if you take it, a wide spectrum and looking at the ACC, I think you look at guys like Coach Capel who've been able to get his guys in and start to turn some things around and turn the corner. Not necessarily your all-stars, but certainly your Jims and your Joes, and make things a little bit better for their program. Jim Larinaga certainly has, that argument, can say that with his players, and some of the best have come out of Miami in recent years.
Yeah, and that's, at the end of the day, it's about wins. The teams that you're talking about, Miami, Final Four run, national championship appearance and all that. That is what it's about. It does not matter. It does not shake out in a way that it is ever relevant or important that you got recruit X, Y, and Z, that you got player A, B, and C out of the portal. It is what you do with those players. It's the end result of getting those players that matters to a high degree.
That's very true. Speaking of portal news and someone who had draft news, really, Breece Beekman deciding to return to Virginia. I know it's a little bit late to report that, but I think it's going to be huge as we're talking about, the different alignments and how the stars and people getting their Avengers together for this basketball season. Way too early to discuss, but here we are. Having him return is certainly going to be huge for the Cavaliers. And can they not have an embarrassing first round exit like they did with Furman last season? They're gonna need to have some sort of high mark if we want to, consider if Tony Bennett is still a quality coach, in my opinion.
Well, y'all remember what happened last time they got booted in the first round by a team that everybody looked at and said, oh, no, you shouldn't lose to them. They won a national championship the next year.
That's fair.
So don't count Bennett and the boys out. Don't you do it.
That's fair. Well, here we go. So a lot to go over. Again, as we mentioned, Hot Topic Tuesdays are happening all summer long. So we want you to respond to our poll that Kenton will put up, make a little comment section where it says, what do you guys want to hear on Tuesday? You let us know the topics. We'll pick some of the best ones, some of the most appropriate ones. Again, I'm already throwing Zion in the mix because I didn't get to talk to Kenton about it, and I want to hear his thoughts about the rowdy weekend. It could have been a Mariah Monday, but I let it go. I was right there. It was right there for me. I know. I tried to not let it, but it was right there for me. We're going to talk about Hot Topic Tuesday. We're going to make sure you guys are plugged in throughout the summertime. So some really good content. But more than that, we have whole playlists on YouTube. So if you want to catch up, you want to know what your team is going to do this season, we've got our football shows. We got some schedule reviews to go over. Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech. We have not forgotten about you. We're going to get all of that together for you. So make sure you tap in there. All of our friends here at the Locked On Podcast Network are doing really big, important things. Catch their exclusive interviews wherever you listen to podcasts. Again, we have some crossover episodes. We got a new Locked On Clemson show. We're trying to get all of our ACC Avengers together. So there's a lot to be said about good things happening our way. But we got to keep it on spicy. Please fix your face. I know you're excited about Hot Topic Tuesday, kid. I can tell.
I can
tell.
This is going to be a mess.
It's going to be great. I think if there was ever a good tandem, this is we are the two. We are the two that can have this very, very good analogy-based conversation. So I'm ready for it.
I'm not. I'm never going to be ready for it. But, my co-host is throwing me into the fire here. So we're going to get ready. We're going to get ready.
Hot Topic Zion Tuesday coming at you. For Candace Cooper and Kenton Gibbs, we hope you guys have a great start to your week. Until next time.